Hello guys. I'll be starting the session. So just put a comment if you are able to hear me. Just put a comment, someone. Uh, Hello. Okay, yeah. My voice is a bit low today. I have some cough, but I'll. If my voice is low, just put a comment. Okay, that's fine. So I'll present now. Okay, so guys, welcome. So I hope the screen is visible, right? Okay, so yeah, so welcome to the third session of Android Study Jam. So in this session, mainly I'll be focusing on the track to students, that is the one with prior programming experience track. There are many concepts in track 2, but today I'll be discussing more about databases and recycler views. So this is one unit in the track 2. So why I'm discussing this is because this has more importance. So generally, when you build an app, of course, right, you have to connect your app to some other database. So that is a real necessity. Yeah, I could call it a real necessity. And I'll explain you about the recycler view, which is one of the latest and key Android features. So I'll explain these both things, and I'll explain the about the database which I'm using, and I'll show you how to connect your Android app to the database and how to insert whatever the data that you enter into app from the app to the database. So I'll show that part. So guys, the database that I'll be using is called Firebase. So if you type Firebase in Google, so you can see that the Firebase is a platform developed by Google for creating mobile and web applications. So why I am using Firebase is because one main reason is that Android Studio inherently supports the use of Firebase. So suppose if I go to the Android Studio and at the top there is a icon tools. See here you can see an option called Firebase. So you can see that the Android Studio inherently supports the use of Firebase, and using Firebase in Android Studio is really easy and more efficient. So, of course, there are many other databases like SQLite and all. And Room, there is one more database called Room database. So, of course, many people will be using those also. But Firebase is one of the most used databases, especially for creating Android apps, connecting your Android app to the database. So that's why I'm explaining about the Firebase. Coming to the you how the Firebase looks like. So when you type Firebase, you can just click on the first option. Then we'll move to the Firebase. So here you can see that it is this Firebase is owned by Google. Okay, so of course even Android is owned by Google, so they support Firebase much. So if you click on here, here you can see that these are some projects that I have created. So if you're new to Firebase, just click on this here, add project, and you can just enter whatever the project. So suppose if I suppose I'll just say demo app one. So I'll just give the project name, some random project name, and I'll press continue. So you can just press continue. These are all not required. So here it will ask for this account. You can just press default account. Yeah, default Firebase account, and you can just press create the new project. So it will take some time. It will take some 2 to 3 minutes for creating. So after creating, if I just go, you will find something like this. Okay, so if you open that project that you created, you'll find something like this, the front part. So there are really many options in the Firebase actually to explore. So that's why developers mostly use Firebase because it gives really some unique features. So some of the features, if you go here, I'll just expand it. Okay, it is not able to expand. Okay, so if you go here, you can see that there is authentication, cloud, real-time database, storage, hosting, and all. So this authentication is for for logging purpose, login and register and all. And this cloud storage, it will give some API for calling some API requests and all. That's I didn't use much of this, but this is the main part that I'll be showing today: authentication and the real-time database. And for storage, actually you have to pay. This is not free actually. Some parts are free and some are not free, so you have to pay actually. So this is for storing large files or large number of documents. So that's and for hosting, this is for the web development. You can host your web app or website here, and This is one more option that you have. Even I didn't use this much, that much, and here you can see this is also one of the key. So machine learning is one of the trending topics, right, in 2020. So nowadays machine learning is the most heard topic. So you can integrate some machine learning algorithms into the app. So this is one key feature. I'll show you. I'll show you how to. I'll just show just reference of how to do it. But you can explore even this option. So like this, there are many options, and here you can see even the dashboard. So here in dashboard, wait a second, it will load. Uh, so here you can see the active users, how many users are using this. Since this is not a kind of public app, so only I am using it, just I created. But if you are creating an app and putting it into the Play Store, then you can see the user activity, how many users are using it, how many are active currently. So all these stats you can see it here. So yeah, coming to this part, actually I think the project is created. Yeah. See, now since the I have created one new project, right? So this is the new project. So here you can see that there is one more option called add an app. See, for one database, right, you can connect many other applications, not only Android app. Even if you can create one database and connect one website and another Android app, so you can connect multiple applications to one database. So here you can see you can connect an iOS app, an Android app, of course, and a web application. So you can create a web app and of course link it to this database. And this is Unity. This is actually for AR and VR, virtual reality. I'll not tell about this. This is out of this concept actually. Even if you are an iOS developer also, you can use this Firebase. Even iOS, for iOS apps, this Firebase gives the support. So coming to I think I've explained all the features. Yeah, now I'll show you how to connect your app to the Firebase. So I have opened my Android Studio. Yeah, today I'll be explaining you what to do actually. So what I'm doing. One second. Yeah. So today I'll just give you the overview of what I'm doing. So we last time, right, we had created this login app, right? So what we did is we created some simple UI like this. Simple UI. Some I have explained last session was basically more focused for the track one participants. So that's why I just explained about the UI, some layouts, some basic layouts, buttons and all, and some basic Kotlin code that you can do. But now, last time what I did was I just hard coded the username and password. So if my username and password is correct, then it will just log in into the next activity. But now what I'm doing is I'm creating a full-fledged authentication app. As I said, you must have seen it in the Instagram stories, right? I'm creating the full-fledged authentication app. What happens is, to show you the basic structure, what happens is, I'll show you once. Okay, just a second. I'll open the app. Yeah. So suppose think that I'm new to this app and I don't have an account. So if I press here, no account register here, it will redirect me to this. I have not focused more on UI, so you might feel that UI is plain, but okay. I am mainly focusing on the database concept, so that's why I have not created any complicated UI. So suppose, right, here you can see that uh, in the real-time database, not this one actually. Okay, this one. Yeah, I'll remove this. Okay, so here you can see if I go to the real-time database, nothing is there. I mean, the database is empty. No users are there. But now what I'll do is I'll register an account. Okay, I'll register now. I'll just type my name and age is 20. Student email. I'll just do something. Okay. Yeah. Password I'll give Puneet. So what I'll do is I'll just press register. This is the register button. So if I press the register button, this you can see this right, this pop-up. This is actually called alert dialog. So I'll show you how to create this. And previously you saw some loading, right? It is actually called progress dialog. Even I'll show. I've used these two concepts. That is, one is alert dialog and one is progress dialog. So suppose if I click on OK here, it will redirect me to the login activity. So now you can now see that there is a new account here. had registered now, and in the database, my account is created. My data is stored here. So this is what I am showing you how to do this exactly. And suppose now, and one more thing is, even the authentication part I'm using. In authentication part, just now I entered my email and password. So even that is stored here. So suppose now if I enter my username, what's my username? Puneet. Yes. Okay, this one. And the password is Puneet. So if I press login, you can see this is actually called progress dialog. It is loading and see login successfully. And this is actually the blank activity that I have done nothing. I just wrote this text. But what I wanted to show is that the whole, the login and the register, all those that part. So that I'll be for that I'll be using this Firebase database. So that's why I'm emphasizing more on this. So here you can see just now I registered. Yeah, wait, it's loading. Yeah. So just now I registered in the accounts. I have one user. So think that I'm a user, and I just now registered in the app, and I got this. So successfully, it is stored in the database. So I'll show you how to do it. But before showing, I'll show you how to connect the app to the Firebase. So I'll do one thing. I'll just open one blank, just empty project. I had created one actually. Yeah. I open this empty project. See, here nothing is there. Just one Kotlin file is there and one XML file is there. Nothing is there. It is an empty. So now I just showed, right? You have to go to the tools and you have to click the Firebase option. So if you click the Firebase option, this window will appear. And here you can see that you have many options, right? As I said, all the options that you find in the Firebase are here. So suppose I want the authentication part. I'll just click here and I just click this email and I'll just press connect to Firebase. So if I press it, I'll be redirected here actually. So you see it's actually automatic, and I'll just say this demo app. Okay, so this is actually loading. So Firebase is a bit slow. It's actually loading. So it says your Firebase Android app has been created, and I just say connect. See, it says your Android Studio project is connected to your Firebase. So you can see, right, it is now successfully connected to your Firebase. Like that, if you go back to the Android Studio, here you have just connected to the Firebase. Now you have to add the authentication part. So that you have to click here, add Firebase authentication to your app. If you click here, just say accept changes. Now see, actually this takes some time. The Gradle is building. So what happens is that I'll show you what happens after this process. So if you go here, this project I actually connected to the Firebase. So if you go here, you can see some two dependencies. So one is Firebase auth and one is the database, Firebase database. So what happens is after building all this Gradle, uh, just a second. Yeah. So after all the process, it will import these two dependencies. So these, if you have these dependencies in the Gradle, then only you can use the Firebase options or Firebase modules. So that's what happens. So like that, suppose if you want some more options, like I'll go to Firebase again. So since I've already connected, I'll just go here and I'll say save, add real-time database to your app. If I press here like this, then even the real-time database will be added. So now what I'll do is I'll go here. You see, here you can see that these two dependencies are added. At the beginning, these two are not there. Since I connected my app to the Firebase, that's why these two dependencies are added. So this is how you connect your app to the Firebase. So this is very simple. There is one more option also, but that's a bit complicated. What you have to do is, you have to copy this package name, and then you have to give it over there. So even that's also easy, not complicated. But why to go with that? We have option here, right? We have directly connect to Firebase option, so you can use it here directly. So that's the main reason why I'm using Firebase. It's not that other databases are difficult, but Android Studio inherently supports the use of Firebase. So it will, this Firebase actually every year they'll be adding some new features. So you'll be having a lot of scope when you connect your app to this Firebase. So that's why I'm using Firebase. So that's all the connectivity part that I had to say. I'll remove this. It's now no use for me. Okay, so this is the main thing. This is the main code that I'll be. This is the main authentication app code. So here I'll show you how to actually do all this part, all this part, and all this register, and how you'll insert the database, real-time database. Okay, so first at the beginning, what I'll do is, oh, so this part actually explained last time, right? All this is all the basic. I've used some basic layouts like a relative layout, a linear layout, and some basic views like image view, text, and all. So this part I've actually explained, and only thing that I changed is this. I have added this text view, and it says that if you don't have any account, then just click on here. So what I did is, if I go to the login activity, all this thing code here you can see. So I'll just explain it once again. Okay, so what I did is I've created a relative layout, and actually you can use even the linear layout, but relative layout is a bit easy when you create some complicated UI and all. Then it will be more flexible if you use relative layout. So this is the image view actually. So this part is the image view. All this width, height, and the logo, all this I have done. And the edit text part, here you can change, you can type here, and to get this right, to get this slide, what you call a light kind hint. Here you can see that you can use this hint. So if I type username here, it will get updated here. And if I type even email, suppose I change it. If I type email, then you can see this is email now. Let it be username only, not an issue for that. Okay, so it's username, and even this is same. And this is the text view that I've added, as I said. And now for everything, right, I have given an ID. So here you can see if I go to username, this ID is really important. Even in the previous session, I said whenever you want to access any view element from the XML, then you have to have this ID. So you have to give a unique ID, not the same. So here I've given for the username, I've given the ID called username. For password, I've given password ID as an ID, and for as similar for even the next. And now what I did is, this is the basic. Most of the part is automatically created. Actually, till here it is automatically created. From here you have to write. Okay. So here, as I said, I have created a variable, and a variable of button type. This is how you give the data type. So this is a button data type, and I have called it with the ID. What I here I have given the ID, right? So using that I have called it, and like that I have created all the variables to access. And as I said, right, the progress dialog. So if I open the app, I showed you, right, the progress dialog part. It will be loading. So whenever there is some backend process, the progress dialog will appear, and it will be loading, and after the backend process is completed, that progress dialog will disappear. So for that, you have to use this progress dialog class, and you have to create a variable. And if I come here, as I show, as I written, this is the login button dot set on click listener. So what happens is, if I click this login button, it will listen to that, and it will come into it. So come into the this part, and then what it will do is, it will extract the username and the password. So whatever I type here, it will be extracted, and then it will be stored in some variable. And then this is all the next part. So I'll explain it once again. Actually, I had explained it last time. So if my username and password is empty, then it must pop up a message. So I'll show you how it is. So suppose if I open it, suppose I'll remove this. Okay, I'll remove everything. So suppose I'll click on this login. It says enter username and password correctly. So you just got a message where this is actually called toast message. So that's what I've created here. This is a toast message. And if the username and the password is empty, then just give a message that enter the username and password correctly to a user. So and else, suppose else if you have entered the username and the password and it is not empty, then what it will do is here I have created a instance of Firebase authentication. So what it will do is, if you write this part, I have created the variable called auth, and I've written Firebase auth get instance. If you write this code, what it will do is it will go here. It will go till here. No, it will. Just now I registered, right. This has appeared here. So if you write this code, then what it will do is it will just go to the Firebase project that you connected to this app, and it will go till here. It will go to the authentication part. And next what I have written is this progress dialog. So I have written this, please wait. So this backend process sometimes takes some time. So going to the Firebase project and then retrieving your information, it might, if your internet connectivity is slow, then it might take some time. So that's why I have added this part. And this is the important thing actually. This is auth sign in with email and password. This is the most important part. This is where your password and username is checked. If you have entered the correct username or password, if you have entered it, then it will just say that. I'll just show you once again. So it's empty right now. I'll just type some random letters. Okay, this is a wrong password and username. So if I press on this login, then it says incorrect username and password. So enter the correct username and password. So if your password and username is wrong, then it will just give a dialog box. So how to create this dialog box is you use this alert dialog dot builder class. So for all the purpose for creating any dialog, or if you want to even customize your alert dialog, you have to use this class. And of course customized it. So if you want to customize it, then you can use some other UI and all, not an issue with that. But the main thing is that you have to create one variable of alert dialog.builder class. And then you have to give the set title and set message and set on positive button. So what happens is, I just showed you, right. If I press on login, it will just pop up now. If this is the builder.set positive button, this is this part actually. So if I click on OK, nothing has happened. It remained in the same layout. So nothing has to happen actually. So this is about the alert dialog part. And even this is important. If you miss this, then the alert dialog will not pop up. So suppose if you have written this much part and you have not written this one, means it will not pop up. So you have to, at the end, after creating the alert dialog, you have to write this part. Okay. And suppose if I click on this button, if I click on this register here button, then it will move me, I will be redirected to the register activity. So for that, I have used intent. So I think all of you might know about intents. Of course, we have completed, I think, more than half of the course. So intent is basically used to move from one activity, for used to jump from one activity to another activity. So here I am currently in login activity and I have to jump to the register activity, right? So see here I have jumped to the register activity. So that's why I have created an intent and I said start activity intent. So if you write this, then it will redirect you to the register activity. Okay, so this is the login part. So now we'll come to the register part. See this UI, as I said right in the beginning, I have not focused more on UI. You can even add as much as UI, you can change the color and all, but here nothing is there. I have created, I have used relative layout, and all these are edit text. All these parts are edit text. Okay. So the name, age, profession, email and password, all these are edit text. You can just enter whatever you want. and this is the button. So UI is not complex. I think you can use the you can get the code of the UI. Uh, okay, so as I said in the beginning, once again that I have given unique ID to all of the views. So for the profession, I have given the ID for profession and all. This is very important. Okay, so most of the beginners miss this. Okay, so they don't give ID and they'll get errors, or they'll give some duplicate ID like that, and the app might crash sometimes. So this is the main issue. So you have to give unique ID to every view that you create. If you are using it in the Kotlin code, then you have to create the ID and you have to call this view using that ID. So that's the rule. Okay. So I'll go to register activity here. This is the main part where what in this Kotlin code, what happens is you will save all the data. So if you enter anything here, like if you enter some data here, all this data will be stored in the Firebase. So here I have stored only age, name, and profession. Okay, so here actually there are five email and password. I have stored it in authentication. Okay, so I have used email and password for authentication, and all the remaining data. If you want any other data from the user, you can store it in the relational database, that is Firebase database. So that's what I did. For doing this, I'll show you the code. So yeah, as I said, all these I have called it using the unique ID. And again, this is the alert dialog. It's actually the same code. Whatever the code I have shown you in the login part, it's the same. I've created a variable, and this part is alert dialog is a class. Okay, so alert dialog is a class, and builder is a method. Okay, so that's how it is. So when you are dealing with Kotlin and Java, everything is in the form of a class, method, and object. So you can't call it a function. So generally in Python and all, you use functions, right? Some inbuilt functions. Here, nothing. There is nothing called as inbuilt function. Everything is class. So alert dialog is a class, and dot builder means it's a method. So that's how it is. Everything in Kotlin and Java, while calling means you use classes, objects, and methods. Generally, those are the terminologies that you use, not functions. So you remember that actually. Everyone must remember that. Okay, so here this is the register button. Register button dot set on click listener means if you click on this register button, it will enter here, and it will at the starting only it will call the progress dialog. So why? Because this is all the backend part. From here, all this part is for entering your data to the database. So user has nothing to do with it, right? So this is all the backend part. So here I'll call this progress dialog. So if I call this progress dialog, then it will start the progress dialog, and after end it will stop it. So here I have stopped the progress dialog. So I'll show you what I did. So this is the main part actually. Okay, so what I did is whenever you enter anything, right? So after entering all the details here, you press on the register button. So what happens is all this data will be collected. So okay, just a second. Okay, so all this data will be collected here. If you instantly, if you press on the register button, all this data will be collected, and it will be stored in some here. Actually, it is string, but in Kotlin it is automatic. If you just create a val, val means a mutable variable. So if you create a val variable, then whatever it may be, even it may be int or a string, that doesn't matter. It will get stored into here. So I've collected all the things that you have entered here. This is the part, and then this is the main part actually. So here, see, one thing that you have to keep in mind is that there are many ways to enter data into the database or whatever. I'm specifically talking about Firebase, but generally, if you want to enter data into a Firebase database, there are many ways. Developers might use many ways to enter. Suppose I'll show you on that part actually. So what are the, so suppose if you want any documentation, right? So you have to just press Firebase, uh, insert documentation. So yeah, so here, yeah, so I'll go here. This is actually the official documentation, Firebase. So here you can see that there are really many ways to save data into the Firebase. Okay, so I'll show you here how many ways are there. So right, this is actually important. One more thing I have to tell you is that whenever you have any doubt, right? So don't just don't go to YouTube and type all the doubts. You have to always refer to the documentation. So this is the Firebase documentation, but you have any, if you have any doubts in the Android layouts and all, then you have to go to, I'll show you, developer Android. So this is the this website will come up. So yeah, just go to Android Studio here. So what I wanted to say is, whenever you have any doubt, right, always go to the official documentation. Okay, this one, releases, libraries, yeah, all these things, right? If you have any doubt, if you have any doubt related to some library or related to some view, how to use it, the code snippets, all these things will be available here. This is the official developer.android.com is the official source documentation for this everything Android. So if you have any doubt, you have to just go here and you have to just search for whatever the doubt you have. And even you can refer to Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is also a good uh, website. I mean, a good forum for asking doubts and clearing your doubts. Okay, that's another part actually. Okay, so yeah, so where was I? Yeah, just a second. Yeah, so as I was saying, there are many ways data into the database. So here we have used hashmap method. So this is actually one of the methods. This method you will not find it in any of the YouTube and all. This is only available in the documentation actually, but most of the users don't use it. So I think if you know about the hash map, okay, hash map means hash table actually. So in Java and Kotlin, hash map is called. But generally, if you take a data structures course, then there you will be having a concept called hash table. So I think you all might know about hashing concept, hash table, right? So hash table means you have an value, and that value will be given a unique ID. So all that big O notations, complexity, time complexity and all, I'll not discuss it. But you have to know about it. Okay, you have to know some basic about hashing, hash table. Hash table and hash map are same. Actually, there is a slight difference, but they are used interchangeably. Actually, in Java and Kotlin, we call that as hash map. So hash map is actually a class, and we are creating the instance of a class. So hash map is actually a class. And var, you have to know one more difference about val and var. So val means it's a mutable variable, so you can change it. If you once create it, you can change it however you require. You can just here I have entered one data somewhere. If I come here, I can change the data. But var is unmutable. That means once you create that variable, you can't change it. You can't change the value that it's storing. So that's the meaning of val and var. A very important point to note when you're writing a Kotlin code. So when to use val and when to use var. So those 2 points you have to note. Okay. So here I have created a hash map. Okay, so here, as I said, right, always the hash map you have to create in pairs. So one is the key and one is the value. Key will be some unique ID that will be created by the hash function. Okay, so I can't explain hash function. What is hash function now? But if you read about the hashing concept, then you'll get to know about hash tables, hash functions, why we create a unique ID and all. Okay, so and even the complexity, time complexity concepts and all. So I have created a hash map here, and map.put means you're just putting. So here, this is the just some variable, and this is a name string. So here I have created, I have extracted the data, right? Just a second. So here, whatever you enter here, your name, it will be stored here, and it will be put into the map. So that's what it is. So like that, I have taken this three name string, age string, and profession string, and I have inserted it into the hash map. And this is the important part actually. So if you create this, then after that I'll say what you have to do. So here again, so this part actually, just a second. Okay, this is the login part. But here, so this is where this is the main code, the code snippet where your data will be entered into the Firebase. So what happens is you have to call Firebase database dot get instance. This part will move you to till here. So the Android Studio project will come till here. It will come till here. So like it just comes till here, and if you say get reference means it will go here create this folder or what do you call child, something like that. There are some terminologies in Firebase. If you want, you can use it, but it's not compulsory. So you have to create this child, and you have to just say get reference of accounts. So it will move till here. So till here it has entered. Now you have to push your data. And what you have to push means the map, the hash map which you created, right? That variable you have to push it. So the set value map means what it will do is it will reach till here. It will reach to the Firebase, the Firebase project that your app is connected to. Then in that it will reach to a real-time database, and then it will go to the accounts where your data will be entered. So if you just say dot set value map, then all the data will be pushed actually. Okay, so that's one thing. And dot add on complete listener. So this is actually one of the main part. If the data is entered successfully, then I dismiss the progress bar. Okay, the progress dialog. So here I had started it right. I had started progress dialog to show. If the data is successfully entered, then there is no need to show the progress dialog. So I dismiss it, and I just say that you have successfully registered. So I'll show you once more. So suppose see, I'll enter, I create one more account. Yes. So, and here the age is 20. Student. Email, I'll enter something now. And PSP. And I'll just press register. So if I, wait a second. If I click on register button, right? The now here you have entered into the this part of the code. If I click on register button here, you see that this progress dialog is started now here. So I have written this code, right, and it will just take 2 or 3 seconds, depends on your internet speed. Okay. So yeah, one more thing. If you want to enter your save your data into the Firebase, always you have to have an internet connection. It's not possible without an internet connection. So there was some when I started, even I didn't think that internet connection was required for creating an account. But I don't know. But when you're using Firebase, when you have connected your app to the Firebase, whatever you want to do with the Firebase must have an internet connection. Okay, so here you can see that you have successfully registered. So if I press OK, as I said, you will be redirected to the login activity. So that part of the code is here. Okay. Yeah, so you can see that if it is successfully, if add on complete listener, if it enters here, it will dismiss all the, it will dismiss the progress dialog. It will just pop up, it will just give a alert dialog box, and it will, if you press OK, then it will move you to the login activity. So here I can see that I am currently in the register activity, and I have to move to the login activity. This is how you have to create an intent. Okay, so intents, I said, right, intents are used for jumping from one activity to another activity. So that's the basic idea behind intents. Okay, so that's what it is all about. So now we can see that if I go to the Firebase, see, just now one more user has registered, and that's actually me. So here I can see that just now I registered and the data is successfully entered. And even if you go to the authentication, you can see that, okay, just a second, I'll refresh it. This has not entered. Here it has not entered actually. Maybe I did some mistake, but actually it enters. Okay. So, but Here you can see that in you know just wait a second. In a real-time database, it got entered. Here, it might take some time to come. I don't know. Sometimes, as I said, right, Firebase is a bit slow, so sometimes it takes some time to appear here. So not an issue, but whenever you register, right, all the other details will be stored in the real-time database, and your password and email ID will be stored in the authentication part. That's why because email and password are used even while logging, right? So suppose if I go here, I'll just type the previous account which I created. Okay, so so this one. So here again, you can see that if something is empty, if I type the wrong password, then it will show incorrect username or password. So this is again an alert dialog box. And suppose if I type the correct password, then I'll be see logged in successfully, and I have entered into the next activity. So this is what the main code is about, and this is actually how the real app works. So whenever you download any, whenever you install a new app into your phone, right, every time you have to create an account and you have to log in into the app. So any app, so it might be any app, it should be connected to a database, and whenever you're registering or logging in, everything will be inserting and retrieving from database. Okay, so whatever the information you have or whatever the information you give in the app, everything will be stored in the company's database. So whichever the app you're using, maybe Instagram, Facebook, or whatever it is. Okay, so everything will be stored in the company's database, and whenever you're trying to logging in, then it will retrieve the data from database. There, many people use different techniques. Okay, so even in database also there are different pipelines or different other parameters that come into picture. But generally, in general, if you are creating any Android project, then you can create this authentication part where you can. This actually perfectly works. As I said, right, this part perfectly works. Whichever the if you download it, if you create an APK file and if you use it in another mobile, and even in there, if you create a new account, it works perfectly. So this is the authentication part, and this is a perfectly real time example of how the authentication works, how in real apps, the big apps call it. Okay, so this is how, and I'll show you one more thing. Okay, one more thing. I'll show you coming to the features of Firebase. So features of Firebase, the one entry, but actually this is out of the syllabus. Concern is out of the syllabus, but actually I have to say this. As a facilitator, I think I have to say this. Machine learning is one of the trending topics now, right? Trending technologies now. So if you want to add some machine learning algorithm or kind of an automation to your app, then the Firebase provides support for it. Okay. So see here, this is actually called ML kit. Okay, even for web apps you can use it. If you create a web app, you can use this part. Even for iOS and Android also you can use it. So I'll be not okay. I'll be not showing you how to do it exactly. If I show it the machine learning and deep learning concepts about neural networks and all, so I'll be not showing you actually. And even you have to not know about, you don't have to know deep concepts of neural networks and machine learning to use this. So this is actually very simplified. You can call an API request. If you have a face detection thing in your app, if you want to integrate a face detection thing, face detection automation in your app, then you can use this part. It will provide some APIs. You have to create some API key and all. There are some complexities there. I'll be not showing you, but I'll show you one app which I created using this ML kit. So suppose, right, I'll show you one app. This is out of the syllabus, guys. Like, don't consider it in a course. I'm just showing you because since the machine learning is trending technology nowadays, so it's my responsibility to just give information about it. So yeah. So if I open the app, right, somewhere here I have it. Yeah. So you see here, So this is actually this is a camera. Okay, I'll explain you what this project is for. So this project is about detecting the disease in the cotton leaf. So what it will do is, so see, suppose what I'll do is I just say, okay, so I'll just diseased cotton leaf. Okay, just go to images. Okay, so here you can see what this app will do is, this app will, if you pinpoint, if you point some like a diseased cotton leaf here, then it will detect it actually, and it will say the percentage of how much the leaf is diseased. Okay, so here I'm placing it. I hope you can see it right now. Yeah. So yeah, this is a mobile, and I'm placing it here. See, here you can see that it's showing disease in cotton leaf 100%. It's saying that I'm 100% accurate that this is a disease in cotton leaf. Suppose I'll show some kind of fresh leaves here. If I find some fresh leaves, yeah, I think this is fresh. I show here, it's showing that this is 100% fresh leaf. Actually, this is changing actually. So in machine learning and deep learning and all, we deal with probabilities, right? So that's why this is a probability. So it's saying that this much probability, I'm sure that this is a fresh leaf, something like that. So for creating these kind of apps, right? So for creating these kind of apps, this is a totally machine learning app. Of course, even the Kotlin code is there, Kotlin or Java, whatever you use. So even the Kotlin code is large, but the thing is that you can create this kind of machine learning database. So for this, I have used this object detection. You can customize actually, not that you have to you have to use only the feature that they provide. You can even customize it. Here I have used for cotton leaf. You can even like a simple dog was cat classifier. You can even do for that. So not an issue with that. So there are many things. This is not there in your course. Okay, I'm just showing you. Like this is one of the key technologies, right? Machine learning and deep learning. That's why I'm showing you this landmark detection, translation, and all. If you know about the this for object detection, we use CNN, right? Convolutional neural nets and all. All these things for even OCR is there. Generally, you create OCR with the optical character recognition, right? Using Tesseract and all. Here you can directly integrate it into the app. So, okay, so this is out of the syllabus concept. I'm not focusing more on it, but just go through it. If you find it interesting, whenever you learn machine learning in future, just go through this and remember that you can integrate machine learning into Android apps. That's one part. Okay, yeah. So next, one more thing. Yeah, if I come to the course, back to the course, the recycler view, I had to I have to say this. Recycler view is one of the most important concepts in Android development. Why? Because if you claim that, supposing that you claim that you are an Android developer, then the first question that they will ask is what is a recycler view, how it will work. That's the first question that a stranger will ask, or whenever even in the interview process or whatever it is. So some stranger will ask that if you are an Android developer, just tell me what is recycler view. That's the basic question that everyone will be having in their mind. Okay, so the recycler view is a really key feature, and this is actually reset feature. Okay, so why? Because now SDK 30 is running. This feature was I think introduced in SDK 21 or 22. I don't remember it exactly, but recently actually SDK 22 is actually, you can call it a recent update. Okay, so it was, this feature was introduced in SDK 22. Before that, list view, many of them were using list view. But I'll say what is the disadvantage of using list view and what is the advantage of using the recycler view. I'll just say that I'll say the advantages of using recycler view and some key technologies, key features of the recycler view and all. So see this recycler view, right? I don't know whether you have explicitly noticed it or not. So whenever you open an Instagram, right? What is Instagram? So Instagram is basically like you'll be scrolling down many images, right? So there will be some thousands, 10,000s of images, and you'll be just scrolling down. So what it means is, whenever see here you have an image. Actually, the images are really good in the course, right? They give an intuitive idea of what exactly the concept is. So that's why I've not taken any other image from from Google, because these images are perfectly good for explaining you the concept. Okay, these three images. So Okay, so think that this is some image view. Okay, so suppose think that you are create. Suppose think that you are an Instagram developer. You are creating an Instagram app actually. You're working in the Facebook and you're creating an Instagram app, or you're working on some update in Instagram. Okay, so think that there will be thousands, lakhs of images in the Instagram database. So how do you think, right? You see that Instagram never actually had, right? So sometimes when the Facebook was first introduced, I felt that Facebook was consuming more RAM. Why? Because yeah, many people were using shifting to Facebook Lite. Why? Because Facebook, the actual Facebook app was consuming more RAM. It was consuming more memory. It was making our of mobile slow. All these comments were coming up when people were using Facebook. So that's actually the problem with the list view. So what happens is, generally before SDK 21, many developers were using list view. The disadvantage of list view is that you have to suppose you have 100 images, then you have to create 100 image views for showing the each image. I hope you understood, right? See, suppose think that these are the two image views. So suppose you just scrolling down, you have some 100 images in your database. So you have to create 100 list views. A list view in the sense it's a view group where you can show this kind of collection of objects. Right? I didn't explain. Sorry, I didn't explain what is list view. So list view is basically a Android feature where a collection of elements is shown. So whenever you must have seen, right? I'm not saying you the official definition, I mean the perfect definition, but I'm giving you the example of Instagram. So it's similar to Instagram. You'll be just scrolling down the photos, right? Pics. The same way. That's actually recycler view. In Instagram they use recycler view, but I'm giving the example of list view. You keep scrolling down the objects, right? Sorry, pictures. So as I said, if you want to display 100 images on your mobile, then you have to create 100 list views. What the main disadvantage is that, as I said, it makes your mobile really slow and it consumes more RAM. Why? Because see, if there was no recycler view, right? I think the list view, if the Instagram use list view, then they might consume more RAM actually. Why? Because if you think, just think about it. If you have thousands of photos and you have to create thousands of list views, okay, so there is no end to it. So that's why there was a problem with this list view. So that's why developers introduced a new feature called recycler view. So recycler view is I call it really intelligent. But because see how recycler view works is, as I said, right, here for 100 pictures you have to create 100 list views, but here it's not the case. What happens is, in recycler view you have limited number of views. So suppose you take an example here. At that time, you can think that at a time you can see two views. But suppose think that okay, this is actually difficult to explain even for me, but I'll just try to explain. See, suppose you have three views in a recycler view. So the recycler view is a total view, I mean the view group, and it has each items. So think that this is item one, item two, and item three. Okay. So I hope this is item one and item two and item three. And at a time, think that you can just see two items, right? So suppose if you scroll down, right, this above item will move up. So what they'll do is they'll not create one more item. They'll just bring down this item back and they'll insert some new data. I hope you understood, right? They're creating a cycle. So what they're doing is, if you have three items, right, they're creating a cycle like this. So suppose you have this ABC, right? Whenever it goes above, then they'll bring that this item down and they'll insert some more data. So when you scroll up again, then the new data will be shown. So that's why the name is also perfect, recycler. It's actually recycling the items. It's actually recycling the views actually, to be precise. So what it's they're recycling. They're like using some cycling purpose. They'll just bring back the above item down. So that's how they're limiting the views. So suppose even 1,000 lakhs of photos, you can just show them in three views, right? But in case of list view, if you have 1,000 photos, then you have to create 1,000 views for the list view. But that is not the case in recycler view. So that's the main advantage of recycler view. And by doing this, you can reduce, of course, a lot of, the mobile app will consume less RAM, of course, not to mention it, and the memory will be also less. Why? Because if you are just creating three layouts, to be frank, right? Whereas in list view, you are creating many, like thousands of views, right? So that's why with the three views, you can just show thousands of images. So this is one of the feature that the Instagram uses. So I don't know whether you have explicitly noticed it or not, but the Instagram uses this recycler view for displaying the photos. So whenever you scroll up, right, scroll down. So whenever you scroll down, the above views will be recycled and they'll be sent back to the bottom, and the new photos will be added. So that's how Instagram manages to consume less RAM, less RAM of your mobile, and it will be more efficient. So that's how this recycler view works, and this is the main concept behind the recycler view. And there are some key terminologies, right? I didn't have the time for recycler view, but I'll show you if I get time in future session. If I'm taking the future session, I'll show you how to code this recycler view. But for this session, I'll be showing you the basic terminologies that are used in the recycler, while creating the recycler view. So the main terminologies are: one is item in the sense whatever the data you have, and the adapter, and the view holder, and of course the mobile screen. So think that the whole recycler view, surrounds around these three terminologies. So I'll explain you. Suppose think that these items are photos. Just for an instance, think that you're creating some update to the Instagram, something like that. Items are the photos. Just a second. These items are the photos. Now, uh, what happens is this adapter is actually the main part of the recycler view. Without this adapter, nothing will happen. The recycler view will not work. So what this adapter does is it will fetch one item. It will fetch one photo. Think the example of an Instagram. That's the best example, that I can give to understand this recycler view in a intuitive sense. Okay, think that it will pick one photo, one item, and what it will do is it will set this to a view holder. View holder is that it will hold your data, in the sense it will, whatever the item is there, the adapter will collect it and it will push it into this view holder. View holder is the place where the data is held, and this view holder an adapter again takes this view holder and it pushes it into the recycler view layout. So that's how it works. It's actually it will pick one item, push it in the view holder, and the view holder is again binded to the screen. So that's how it then again picks the next item, pushes it to the next view holder, and then again it binds it in the screen. So that's how the recycler view works. You can, this is a really good picture actually to explain the simple one how recycler view works. And actually, this part is actually automated. Okay, so sent back to down here. You have to not explicitly code it in the, you have to not write that code. It's actually the key feature of the recycler view, so it's inbuilt actually. So if you create a recycler view, means it will automatically, you know when you scroll above, it will push back the above views to the bottom. So you have to just create, of course, you have to have the items in the sense any photos or data, anything. And you have to create an adapter class, and that adapter class may be in Java or Kotlin. You have to write the code actually. I didn't get the time to write the code, but I'll show you in the future sim. I'll show you that how to write it. So you have to create an adapter class, and you have to one more create a view holder. This is actually the main part. This is where the large amount of the code lies for the recycler view. So here you have to fetch the item, push it into the view holder, and again you have to bind this view holder to the recycler view. That's the main terminologies that are used. So that's yeah. I think I said everything, right? So here you can see view holder, all this. And one more thing, yeah, layout manager in the sense, it's not something to say separately. It handles all the layout UI components and all. So it's not any something special. You'll get to know whenever. See here, actually, it was given right here. You're creating this sleep tracker app. I saw this project. It's actually really good. Okay, so try this project. Actually, this project is really good. Here you can see that they have given all the code here. Okay, so this layout inflator, all these things, they have given all the code here. Okay, so just try this project actually. This holder, all this, how to create a view holder, how to even they have given the XML code here. So you don't have to do anything. Just understand the piece of code. They have given it in the form of snippets. So just understand a piece of code, and then you'll get to know everything. Okay, so everything is given correctly, but they have not explained all these things. Like they have here, why I took this concept, because I wanted to show you what is the advantage. They have just explained you about the recycler view. They have not distinguished between the list view and the recycler view, and what are the advantages of recycler view that you have. No, that's very important concept. Whenever if whenever you claim that you are an Android developer, you have to know this important difference between the recycler view and the list view. So those two are even the list view is also used nowadays. Not that list view is deprecated library. It's not that. When you have limited amount of data, so see, one more thing is list view. When you are coding, right, list view takes really short. You can just code the list view in something like 10 to 20 lines. But this recycler view is really complicated to code. So you have to take care of this adapter class, view holder, all the fetching of the items, all those things. But the list view is very simple, and with that comes the disadvantage. Okay, but whenever you have a limited, suppose you have some 5 to 10 elements, you can create a simple list view. It's not that you have to create a recycler view even for 5 to 10 items. But when you have thousands of items to show, generally in big apps like social media apps like Facebook and Instagram, there are thousands of posts and all, right. So for that purpose, they use a recycler view because it will consume less RAM and less memory of your mobile, and it will the UX will be really smooth for that purpose. So that's why they use this. So I think I have covered all the concepts. Okay. So if you have any doubts, just please, just please. I don't think many people have come here. So if you have any doubts, I would suggest you to join the Discord server. If you haven't joined, and just please ask doubts there. I'll surely clear you. And one more thing, I had recently heard that some ninth unit, you're not getting the badges. See, that badges actually, I'm not giving the badges. Okay, that is automated. The badges actually, it's an automated process, right? So if you refresh it, or it takes some time to update the badges, so don't worry about that. So we'll tell you the next proceedings further. For today's session, I think I have covered all the concepts that I mentioned, and yeah, that main. Sorry for this. So I showed you even this app, the complete authentication, how to use database, how to use this real-time database and authentication and all. If time permits, I'll show you how to even retrieve data, all those things. But yeah, this thing actually, what happened to this? Maybe something. Sometimes Firebase behaves like this, but generally, no. Uh, generally use try to use this Firebase also. Actually, even SQLite is used very much, but since Firebase, as I said in the beginning, since Android Studio supports Firebase, so just go with it and try to use the Firebase. Try to explore new features in the Firebase. Like machine learning and all, storage, all those things. I've shown you two: real-time database and authentication. And even in authentication, right, there are many things like even you can create, send a mail to the user whenever you register, right. Generally in most of the apps, an email, automated email will be generated. So even OTP, some kind of things, even you can create, you can send an SMS, all those things are available. I've shown you some simple thing. That's not difficult. Okay, even the code is actually, you'll be, as I said, right, if you go to the documentation, official documentation of the Firebase, or Android developers.android.com, you'll find all the code there. You can customize it. You have to just change the small parts of the code. That's it. Most of the code is available. uh, so that's it for today's session. I think I've covered all the concepts that I said. So if you have any doubts, or if you have any concepts that are not understood, or if you want something extra to be said, something more emphasis on some concept like that, then just message me in the Discord. Try to arrange session, one more session where I can clear all the doubts. If you have any doubts regarding this Android Study Jam or some Android concepts, then I can cover all of that. So that's it for today's session. I think we'll end the session now. If you have any doubts, just ask me now. I'll be there. If you don't have any doubts, then it's fine. We'll end the session now. Yeah, we can end the session now. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just want a message of thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll just end the session and just ping me in the Discord if you have any doubts. I'll clear it. 100% sure I'll clear it. If you want any concepts to if you want any concepts to be explained, then I'll explain it once again. I'll try to arrange one more session and I'll explain it. Okay, not an issue with that. Okay. Yeah. So thank you.